I'm Rod Serling. You're listening to The Zero Hour.
Suspense. I'm the Whistler.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Who is it?
The Fat Man.
Presents The Man Called X.
The Mysterious Traveler.
Another journey into the realm of the strange and terrifying. I hope you will enjoy the trip, that it will thrill you a little and chill you a little. So settle back, get a good grip on your nerves. Where are we going? You'll find out when we get there.
Welcome to another week of mystery and suspense on Duane Old Time Radio. This week we are going to listen to The Zero Hour. The Zero Hour was hosted by Rod Serling. He didn't produce it, he didn't direct it, he didn't write any of the scripts, but he was composed kind of pretty much the same thing of what he did with the TV show Night Gallery, for those familiar with Night Gallery. The Zero Hour had a fairly short run from 1973 to 1974. It aired on the Mutual Broadcasting System. The producer of The Zero Hour actually purchased suspense novels by different authors and adapted them into radio productions. The first year of The Zero Hour, each story was split up into 4 or 5 part episodes, and the second year is when they changed that format, but we'll discuss that when we get to those episodes. Since the first year, each story is 4 or 5 episodes, and each episode is approximately 25 to 30 minutes, I am going to air 2 or 3 episodes per podcast post, because I don't think anyone wants to sit around and listen to 2 to 2.5 hours of a story. Maybe do, maybe don't, but I'm going to split them up anyway. The last Wednesday of each month, I'm going to air a different post of The Zero Hour. The drama we are going to listen to today is titled Wife of the Red-Haired Man. We are going to listen to the first 2 episodes of the 5-part story. It is about the pursuit of a damned couple, starring Patty Duke Astin, John Astin, and Howard Duff. These 2 episodes aired September 3rd and September 4th, 1973.
The Mutual Broadcasting System presents The Zero Hour. Sponsored in part by
Quaker State Motor Oil and National Presto Industries. This is The Zero Hour on Mutual Radio.
I'm Rod Serling. You're listening to The Zero Hour. Rest your eyes. Exercise your imagination. This week, Bill S. Ballinger's best-selling novel, The Pursuit of a Damned Couple. The Wife of the Red-Haired Man. Starring Patty Duke Astin, John Astin, and Howard Duff. In Elliot Lewis's production of The Zero Hour. This week's story draws its title from an ancient Irish poem. Here's the last verse. But the day of doom shall come, and the hills and harbors be rent. A mist shall fall on the sun, from the dark clouds heavily sent. The sea shall be dry, and the earth under mourning and ban. Then loud shall he cry for the wife of the red-haired man. It's the tale of the hunted and the hunter, the pursuer and the pursued, the stalking of life and death. Do you believe, as I do, that the hunter and his quarry build an empathy between them, a sympathy? As the chase builds toward the inevitable conclusion, is it possible that subconsciously they become aware of each other's moves, counter-moves, plans, even emotions? There are two individuals who will tell you that's so, the poet and the cop. Our story begins after this word.
At 19, Jill Kinmont was one of America's top women skiers, till an accident on an icy slope left her paralyzed. Now, 17 years later, she's a teacher, a good teacher.
I guess you can say I've overcome my handicap, but I couldn't have done it alone. I had family, friends, people who accepted me, believed in me, and helped me believe in myself. Yet there are millions of handicapped people in this country who aren't getting the acceptance they deserve because some people think that a handicapped person can't hold down a job, can't pay the rent, can't learn, can't be a human being. Well, unless you recognize that we are human beings with feelings, with skills, with a sense of responsibility, then you're adding a handicap we can't overcome.
This public service message brought to you on behalf of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare and the Advertising Council.
Picture this. A windy, rainy November night in New York City. A man about 30. His most identifiable feature, a crest of flaming red hair, stands in a public telephone booth.
Hello?
This is Rohan.
This is the Turner house. There's no one. Rohan? Did you say Rohan? Hello? Who is this?
The red-haired man wears no raincoat. When he pulls up his jacket collar, we see a revolver stuck into his trousers. The red-haired man walks to the end of the street, where he turns and is lost to our view. His destination is East Vander's Place, a small exclusive street near the river, where large apartments cost a lot of money. Inside one of them, a married couple, Albert and Mercedes Turner.
You're very quiet.
What? Oh, am I? I'm sorry.
Would you care to tell me who called?
There wasn't anyone.
I heard you asking questions. You told someone this was the Turner house. You said another name. What was it? I've forgotten.
It wasn't anything. It couldn't have been.
You lie badly. And you lie a great deal of the time.
Don't, Albert. Please don't bait me.
The door?
Yes.
Shall I?
No. No, I'll get it.
Hello, Mercy.
You. It is you. Oh, you. You.
I tried to warn you. I called, but then I lost my nerve. I froze. Oh, mercy. Mercy.
Mercedes? Who's at the door? Mercedes?
Come in, Hugh.
Who is it?
It's someone who... Albert, it's someone who...
It's all right, Mercy. It's all right.
Well, if you're through kissing my wife, come in and let me get a look at you.
Come in, darling. Come in.
Well, introduce us, my dear.
I'm Hugh Rohan.
Am I supposed to know you?
Mercy, didn't you...
Hugh's my... I thought he'd been killed in Vietnam.
Rohan. Oh, of course. That's the name you said on the phone.
The last time I saw Mercy, she was my wife.
Your wife? Mercedes, is that so?
Yes. I was Hugh's wife. Long ago.
Did you just forget to tell me, my dear? Slip your mind, did it? That you were already married when you jumped into my bed?
Don't talk to her like...
I wasn't married. I'd obtained an Enoch Arden decree.
You divorced me?
Well, then, at least you're not a bigamist. Whatever else you might be.
Why, Mercy? Why did you do it?
7 years, Hugh. They said you were missing in action, presumed dead. I waited 7 years, darling.
For a con.
What?
You waited 7 years for a convict. Missing in action? Don't make me laugh.
Hugh, what does he mean?
I mean he's a con. He has the stink of prison all over him. Haircut, prison-issue shoes. Unless he's anemic, he hasn't seen the sun all those 7 missing in action years.
What's he talking about, Hugh?
Put that phone down.
Oh, my dear phony fellow, it's my duty as a public-spirited citizen to tell the police there's an escaped con in my living room.
Put it down.
If you come near me, I'll blow your head off.
Put that gun away, Albert, please. Please, put the gun away.
Operator.
Albert?
He's dead.
You shot him.
He was going to call the police and spoil it. I waited 7 years, Mercy. 7 years.
But he's dead. What will happen to us? I don't remember if I'd ever seen a dead body before. But Hugh faced the matter as though it were almost commonplace. He hung up the phone, which had fallen to the floor, and then closed Albert's eyes.
He would have separated us again. I couldn't let him do that.
Was it true? What he said about you?
No.
We can't stay here.
And we'll leave. You take what you need and we'll leave together.
No. Not yet.
What?
I can't leave until tomorrow. We'll need money.
Oh, yeah. All right. I'll stay with you until morning.
No, you have to leave now while it's dark. Otherwise, someone might see you.
But what about him?
We'll put him in his room. The maid comes at 10 o'clock. We don't want her to find him right away.
All right. Where do you want him?
His bedroom. I better answer it. It might be the operator. Maybe she traced his call.
Where's his bedroom?
Through that door, the room on the right.
Oh, if that's the operator, tell her everything's fine. We were playing a game and the phone fell off the table.
Hello?
Al?
What?
Al there?
Albert? Did you want to talk to Albert?
Let me talk to Al.
Who is it? Is that the operator?
Someone wants to speak to Albert.
Not Albert, Al. What's the matter? Are you drunk? I want to talk to Alan. Alan Fox. My goodness, can't you understand a simple request?
Alan Fox.
That's it.
You have a wrong number. There's no one here by that name.
Oh, I'm most extremely sorry.
I thought it was someone... I don't know, someone who heard us or saw us through a window. I was frightened.
It's all right. Everything's all right now. We're together.
Yes.
We'll always be together because that's how it was meant to be.
Go now, while it's dark. I'll get the money in the morning.
Then come to the rooming house where I'm staying. Here's the address. I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget.
All right. In the morning. Good night.
Good night.
Some gifts don't do anything, but Presto gifts do almost everything.
Presto gifts, they do things for a woman.
Give her the famous Presto pressure cooker. It'll cook a surprising number of things for her, surprisingly fast. 3 times faster than pots and pans.
Presto gifts, they do things for a woman.
Give her Presto's jumbo fry pan, big enough for a complete dinner for 8. And the handles are removable, so it's easy to clean and store.
Presto gifts, they do things for a woman.
Give her an easier way to broil. The brand new Presto vertical broiler broils both sides at once, then comes apart for easy cleaning. This year, give the gifts that do almost everything. Give Presto gifts.
Presto gifts, they do things for a woman.
We'll return to our story in a moment.
Where does today's girl learn to be tomorrow's woman? At the movies? On television?
Helen, darling, your floors are so shiny.
Yes, John. I used Brandex polish just this morning.
Brandex. Helen, will you marry me?
Somewhere between the super sex symbol of today's commercialism and TV's Brandex image, impending womanhood is alive and well. And where is that somewhere? Wherever there are campfire girls. Campfire reaches the girl reaching out for tomorrow and puts a promise before her. The promise of personal development, of friends and fun. The promise of womanhood. Campfire takes today's girl to tomorrow.
My name is Williams, detective 19th Precinct. Not every detective working on a murder in New York City belongs to the homicide squad. A detective from the precinct where the killing occurs is also assigned to it. East Vanda's place is in the 19th, and therefore the report of Albert Turner's death came over our desk, and I went out on it. The medical examiner and the technical services crew were already there when I arrived.
Williams, over here. Hey, you precinct guys sleep in or what? It's almost noon.
Only got it half hour ago. Went homicide here.
Half hour ago. I just got there.
Oh, this is quite some beautiful layout.
Yeah, it's class. Real dough.
Who reported it?
The maid, Thelma Jordan. She found the body. Miss Jordan? Turner's her boss. She'll tell you about it.
Yes, Mr. Scores.
This is Detective Williams here, Miss Jordan, 19th Precinct. He'll be working with me on this.
Hello. Tell me where you found Mr. Turner.
Well, the poor man was in his bedroom. I thought he was asleep, lying in bed, covers all drawn up.
He live here alone?
Oh, no, sir. They are married.
There's a Mrs. Turner?
Oh, yes, indeed.
Well, where is she?
Well, I'm sure I don't know. She wasn't here this morning when I came in.
She at work?
Oh, no, sir. She don't work.
Well, isn't Mr. Turner usually up and around?
Oh, yes, sir, but this morning Miss Turner left me a note. Here.
Let me see that. Thelma, Mr. Turner wasn't well last night. Don't awaken him. He needs the rest. Mercedes Turner. Dr. Branch from the medical examiner's office. He's with the body.
What do you suppose happened to Mrs. Turner?
I can't even guess.
Morning, Will.
Doc, what happened?
One shot straight in the ticker.
Fully clothed. Suit, shoes, lying under covers.
Tell me, Doctor, did you close the eyes?
No, but somebody did.
Who? His wife?
Remind me to ask her when we find her. Also, how come she didn't notice a dead husband in the bedroom?
This is a man's room. Apparently, they had separate bedrooms.
How long's he been dead?
It's a guess. I'd say since around midnight.
Another guess for you, Doc. Possible suicide?
Negative. No powder stains in the front of his shirt. There's at least none I can find without a microscope. Besides,
There's no gun.
That's right.
There is one. We haven't found it yet.
Another thing, you'll notice that not much bleeding. Probably shot someplace else, then placed in the bed.
Any idea where?
Possibly. The technical boys found something in the living room.
Oh? What?
Possible bloodstain on the rug. They clipped the sample and they're going to check it.
Near the bar by the phone.
Yeah. Shot as he was calling someone?
Maybe.
You know, when I got here, this chair had been pulled up to cover that stain. The boys nearly missed it.
Yeah. Oh, Miss Jordan?
Yes?
Listen, does Miss Turner have a book where she keeps phone numbers, stores, shops, beauty parlor, places where she might be this morning?
Yeah, I'll get it.
And would you check her things for us, see if anything's missing?
Yeah, right away.
Where do you suppose she is, Will?
I don't know. Can't even guess.
Think maybe something's happened to her?
It's possible, Scores. It's very possible.
Judy, do you remember what I told you about all that high-speed turnpike driving you're doing now and all that power equipment on your new car?
Yes, Caleb?
About how they can make your engine so hot that the oil thins down so it may not protect your engine?
Yes, Caleb.
Now, how do you tell if your oil's too hot?
Just watch the temperature gauge.
Nope. That just shows how hot the radiator fluid is.
Oh, I know. When the oil's too hot, that little red light goes on.
Nope. That just tells you the oil pressure's too low.
Well, how do I tell if my oil's too hot?
Fact is, you can't.
Then how do I know my engine's protected?
Make sure you're using quality oil like Quaker State. Quaker State's specially made to stand up to high engine heat so it can keep right on protecting like an oil's supposed to.
Is that the reason you always recommend Quaker State?
That's one reason.
Quaker State your car to keep it running young.
The Zero Hour continues after this.
This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. From the Redwood Forest to the ocean water. This land was made for you and me.
America, the greatest nation on earth. But as our country continues to grow, it must face the problems of expansion, such as the now ominous shortages of fuel and energy. There are ways you can help conserve these vital resources. Reduce thermostat settings by 2 or 3 degrees. Shut off lights and heat in rooms not in use. And reduce the consumption of electricity in late afternoon or evening. Remember, in conserving fuel and energy, you help yourself and your community.
This land was made for you and me.
Service message is presented by the President's Office of Emergency Preparedness and the Office of Consumer Affairs.
It happened so suddenly. All of it. Hugh returned from the dead, holding me in his arms. Suddenly we were young again and innocent. Then Albert began saying those terrible, threatening things. Of course Hugh had shot him. If I'd had a gun, I would have too. Hugh killed him for me, really. Now we had to get away. I couldn't sleep that night, alone in the apartment with Albert's body. In the morning, I gathered some clothes, including my fur coat, left a note for Thelma Jordan, the maid, and hurried to the bank.
Mrs. Turner, good morning. How nice to see you.
Good morning, Mr. Forrest.
How may we serve you? Is Mr. Turner feeling well?
Oh, yes, thank you. Would you cash this check for me?
Yes, certainly. $4,500. Are you closing your account?
Oh, I wouldn't dream of it. No. If you promise you won't tell Albert.
Not a word.
Well, I'm being terribly extravagant. I simply can't resist a lovely new car, and I promise to pay the difference in cash.
And surprise Albert.
Exactly.
Of course.
Oh, and while you're getting the cash, I promised Albert I'd bring him some papers he left in our safe deposit box.
The money will be here when you get back.
Thanks so much. Hugh?
Mercy? Oh, Mercy.
Oh, Hugh. My love.
Come in. Leave the bag where it is. Here, let me have your coat. Where have you been? I thought it's too good to be true. She's gone to the police. She's told them what happened.
No, darling. I withdrew money from the bank and took my jewelry from the safe deposit
Doesn't
box.
matter. You're here. That's all that's important. 7 years, Mercy. I waited 7 years to be with you. 7 empty years. I just don't seem to be able to function without you.
Hugh, what did Albert mean when he called you a convict?
Oh, nothing. Forget it. Come on, come here. Come here with me. Here, sit down.
Was it terrible? All those years?
I told you, I'm not complete without you. Oh, Mercy.
We can't stay here, darling. The police will be looking for us.
I know.
Hugh?
Yeah.
I felt the same way. Incomplete. All the while you were gone. You're all I've ever really had, my darling. You're everything that makes me warm and soft. Oh, Hugh.
There's certain procedures you set in motion after a homicide. You look for the deceased's enemies. You question everyone who might know something about what happened at the time of the crime. You make sure the lab is checking fingerprints and possible blood stains, lost bits of hair, anything and everything. In my job, you're trying to solve a puzzle. When you first begin, there's nothing there. Yes, sir, I certainly will.
Hey, who was that?
The commissioner. Want to know what we have. They're asking questions upstate, you know.
Well, tell me, Will. What has the 19th been able to come up with? And how long? 6 hours since we got the call?
Well, we have a dead man and a missing wife. I called the phone numbers the maid found for me, beauty parlor and such. No one's seen her for the last day or so.
The lab's pretty sure Turner was shot in the living room. They think that bloodstain near the phone will match his type.
That's great. Turner's shot in the living room near the phone. With a bullet in his heart, he walks into the bedroom and gets settled down under the covers, which is where he expires. Which leaves us at square one. Someone shot Turner in the living room, carried him to the bedroom, shut his eyes, then left the premises for who knows where.
That's someone being Mrs. Turner, huh?
That's all we have at the moment.
Well, maybe we got a little more, Will.
What do you mean?
According to the maid, Mrs. Turner's overnight bag is missing, along with a few dresses, shoes, and things, and a fur coat, some bracelets, earrings, etc.
All right. We'll find the lady. Mrs. Mercedes Turner. Last seen when? Last night?
Yeah, as far as we know.
Carrying an overnight bag. Wearing fur coat. Let's see. Height. You got a picture of her?
From the apartment, you mean?
Yeah, from the apartment. Every dummy in the world has snapshots. Weddings, picnics, holidays, trips, whatever.
Not this lady.
What?
We tore that place apart, Will. There is no picture of her. We're putting out on all points for Mercedes Turner, and we don't have the faintest idea what she looks like.
You are listening to Mutual's presentation of The Zero Hour.
Even if someone served them a slice of beef, they couldn't bite into it. Their teeth are too weak. I'm not talking about some people off in Africa or Asia. I'm talking about Americans. American children. It's tragic how many thousands of them are in this country whose teeth will literally rot in their mouths because they'll never receive basic dental care. They may not even own a toothbrush. What hurts is that it takes so very little for any one of us to help them. The same dollar, for instance, that buys you 2 packs of cigarettes can buy 3 American children the first toothbrushes they've ever owned. I'm Cliff Robertson. Won't you give up some cigarettes so some American children can have their first toothbrush? Send your dollar to Americans for Children's Relief, Box 5050, Stamford, Connecticut. Box 5050, Stamford, Connecticut. $1. And, of course, if you can afford more, give more.
This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. From the Redwood Forest to the ocean water. This land was made for you and me.
America, the greatest nation on earth. But as our country continues to grow, it must face the problems of expansion, such as the now ominous shortages of fuel and energy. There are ways you can help conserve these vital resources. Reduce thermostat settings by 2 or 3 degrees. Shut off lights and heat in rooms not in use. And reduce the consumption of electricity in late afternoon or evening. Remember, in conserving fuel and energy, you help yourself and your community.
This land was made for you and me.
This public service message is presented by the President's Office of Emergency Preparedness and the Office of Consumer Affairs.
Tomorrow at this time, rest your eyes and listen here to this week's continuing study in suspense, The Wife of the Red-Haired Man. I'm Rod Serling.
Part 2.
I'm Rod Serling. You're listening to The Zero Hour. Rest your eyes. Exercise your imagination. This week, Bill Ballinger's best-selling novel, The Pursuit of a Damned Couple. The Wife of the Red-Haired Man. Starring Patty Duke Astin, John Astin, and Howard Duff. In Elliot Lewis's production of The Zero Hour.
The Mutual Broadcasting System presents The Zero Hour. Sponsored in part by
the makers of Quaker State Motor Oil and National Presto Industries. This is The Zero Hour on Mutual Radio.
Mercedes Turner, scores of homicide interviewed people who knew the woman, and from their descriptions produced a police artist drawing of her. By nightfall, this picture would be circulated to airlines, bus depots, train stations, shipping agents, everywhere where Mercedes Turner might be seen. Meanwhile, I began to check into the missing woman's background, searching for some clue to her whereabouts. Turner's maiden name was Clinton. Her home had been in Mountain Forge, Connecticut. I drove up there. The police station was across the street from the railroad depot. I parked and went inside. As an out-of-state officer, I needed cooperation from the local police. Excuse me. I'm looking for Chief Novak.
Speaking to him. You the officer called me from New York?
Wiggins, that's right.
Long did it take you?
Less than 3 hours.
Too close. We folks here feel about city cops.
Well, I didn't realize I was in a popularity contest.
Mercedes Turner, you said on the phone.
Yes. You know her?
Yeah. And she was a little girl. Name was Clinton before she was married.
What was she like?
Nice kid. Real pretty, lively, blonde hair, big blue eyes.
Did you ever get in any trouble around here?
Nope. Caution her once in a while against speeding a mite too fast. Lyman Clinton, her dad, gave her a little yellow car when she first went away to school. Drove it all over. Real fast sometimes. Now, you know kids.
Clintons are pretty well off.
Don't worry where the next meal's coming from.
Old family in these parts?
Tolerable. 4 or 5 generations.
Was Mercedes an only child?
Yeah. Light of Lyman's eye. Mighty proud of her. Maybe a mite too proud.
How's that?
I sort of always figured he knew what was best. Nothing good enough for her, in Lyman's view, regardless what she wanted. You believe she shot her own husband?
I don't know. What's your opinion?
If she wanted to bad enough, she might have. Except one thing don't line up. What I know about Mercedes.
What's that?
Well, she was brung up proper. Knows right and wrong. And maybe she got mad in blazes. Even had good enough reason to shoot her husband. But if she did it, she'd take a medicine. She'd walk in, hand you the gun. Well, you'll see. You'll see what I mean when you meet her daddy.
We left Hugh's terrible little room hand in hand, like young lovers off on an adventure. I knew we had to get out of the city, and so did Hugh. We took a bus across the river to Jersey City and got off on a bleak street lined with used car lots, garages, auto parts stores, crawling and sprawling beside one another. We bought an afternoon newspaper and ducked into a shabby little diner and ordered coffee. Here it is, see?
They found him.
Yes. But they don't know about you. They're looking for a woman alone. They're looking for me.
Mercy, after I left last night...
I took every picture of myself I could find and Albert's gun and threw them away.
Ah, that's good. Now, gotta get away from here.
Where should we go?
Anywhere. Doesn't matter. Just leave before they find out about me.
Yes. I thought we'd buy a car.
That's good. That's good. The police will expect you to take a plane or a bus or whatever.
All right. Wait for me. I'll get a car.
Be careful. Be very careful.
I'm going to get you. Chief Novak and I had lunch, and then I called New York and talked to Scores. He got me the all-points bulletin out on Mercedes Turner with her description, and was in the tedious business of checking out everywhere she might have gone. Friends, neighbors, stores, everything. So far, he'd come up empty. The woman had simply disappeared. I was approaching the puzzle from the other direction, trying to find a connecting thread from her earlier days. Chief Novak drove me out to her father's house. A big old farmhouse set back from the road by a twisting gravel drive. Huge trees towered over the house like great leafy umbrellas.
Come in.
Lyman Clinton, the woman's father, was tall and thin, a bit stooped. He had a long, thin face with creases running from cheek to nose, snow-white hair. He led Novak and me into a study off the big living room. He motioned us to a couple of worn, shiny leather chairs and seated himself behind an old-fashioned roll-top desk. It was a genteel, patrician background for a woman I was beginning to suspect of murder.
Chief Novak says you want to talk about my daughter.
That's right, Mr. Clinton.
Now, before we get started, if I did know anything, I doubt I'd tell you. Furthermore, I'll never believe she shot Howard Turner.
Did you have any reason to shoot him?
And I know about it.
Anyone else want to shoot him?
No.
You hesitate.
Just thinking.
Would Mrs. Clinton have any information?
Quite sure she wouldn't.
Miss Clinton's gone now. Buried better than 5 years.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize. When was the last time you saw your daughter?
A couple of weeks ago. Dinner one night in the city.
You see her often?
My daughter and I are very close. Sometimes she comes up here, or else I go to New York.
When did she marry Albert Turner?
A little over a year ago.
Do you have a picture of her?
No.
Not even a wedding picture?
You heard me. I don't like pictures.
Well, there's one over there. Mrs. Clinton?
Yes. That's the exception.
And if you had a picture of Mercedes, you wouldn't give it to me anyway, would you?
Williams, think maybe we better move along.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thanks for your time, Mr. Clinton.
It was while I was buying the car that the questions began gnawing at me. Questions about Hugh. When the war in Vietnam began, Hugh had been one of the first to be drafted. He shipped out very soon after his induction, and then nothing. No word, no trace, nothing. The Red Cross helped me, but all we could learn was that he was missing. Missing in action, they said. And then, as years went by, presumed dead. But I waited. And I felt myself drying up, aging without him.
Is this the car? It's not bad.
This is it.
What names you use?
Mrs. Walter Brewer, Trenton, New Jersey.
Slide over. I'll drive.
Do you have a license? You've been away a long time.
Yours isn't good now either. Has your right name on it. What's the difference? If we're stopped, that's it for both of us.
Yes.
Nice to be driving a car again. I didn't think it would happen.
Where are we going?
Away. Far, far away. You and me, Mercy. Just the way it used to be.
Yes. Just the way it
After we left Mercedes Turner's father, Chief Novak had someone else he thought I should see. A woman, Clara Goldwater, who'd been close to Mercedes in high school. Clara was married now, wife of a foundry worker in Mountain Forge.
I'll wait here.
Their home was a squatting, shapeless bungalow in a shabby, genteel sort of neighborhood. You've seen a million places like it. Mrs. Battles?
Yes?
You used to be Clara Goldwater, a friend of Mercedes Clinton?
Oh, yes?
My name is Williams, New York Police. Chief Novak is out in my car. May I come in?
Oh, yes, come in. Hush, Selma. Oh, this time of day, she's cranky. Sit down, please.
Thank you.
What do you want?
A little information about Mercedes Clinton Turner.
Whatever for?
She's disappeared.
Just gone?
Something like that.
Oh, my goodness.
I know you're busy. This won't take long. When did you last see Mercedes?
Oh, not in ages. Years. In high school. Then we sort of drifted apart.
But you remember her well.
Oh, yes. Such a beauty. Never say that about me. I was the plain one. But we were real close friends, at least for a while. And then she went her way, and I went mine. Settled down here. You ever meet her husband?
Albert Turner?
What kind of man is he?
Quiet. when I saw him.
Quiet kind. Kind that broods over things?
Did he have something to brood over?
Might have. You think Mercy's in trouble? Real trouble?
Yes. She's in a great deal of trouble.
Enough to make me break my word?
Mrs. Battles, if you know anything at all, you should tell me.
Oh, Mercy made me swear. Really swear on the Bible I'd never tell a soul. Even after Daddy found out about it and broke it up.
Yes?
Well, Mercy was married before.
Did Albert Turner know that?
Well, after it was over, after her daddy broke it up, Mercy wouldn't talk about it, not a word. So I don't suppose Albert Turner did know about it.
How long ago did this happen?
Oh, long, long ago, years ago, it seems. Back when the Vietnam War began, back then. They ran away to get married. I was supposed to be a witness, but I couldn't go at the last minute, and they went ahead, did it anyhow.
Who was the man? Who'd she marry?
A boy she met impressed her.
Well, she was going to school there?
Must have been so long ago. I remember he was poor. And they were both awful young and so much in love. They were going to keep it a secret.
What was the boy's name?
His last name was Rohan. Can't recall his first name. What a pretty picture they made.
In what way?
Well, she was so blonde, and he had red hair, flaming red hair, like he was on fire.
This is Marvin Miller inviting you to be part of a historic event. On September 22nd, the Paramount plays again. The Paramount Theater of the Arts in Oakland has its benefit premiere, bringing together on one stage one name act after the other, featuring music, dance, and comedy. Tickets for this benefit premiere on September 22nd will range from $25 to $250. For reservations, phone 452-4167. That's the ticket.
Hugh drove carefully, partly because he wasn't used to being behind the wheel, partly so he wouldn't do anything to make a policeman stop us. We drove south without even discussing why. I found myself staring at him. At the flaming red hair, the boyish face, tired now, worn. He must have felt me staring at him because he shifted in the seat to look at me. That's when I saw that he was still carrying the gun in his jacket pocket. Hugh?
Yeah?
Should you keep the gun? Shouldn't you get rid of it?
No, I have to keep it. You'll see.
See what?
Well, if anything happens, if anyone tries to stop us, break us up, now that we've found each other again, I may need to use it. Because there's nothing in this world can take you away from me again. Hey, remember Rehoboth Beach?
Yes, of course I remember.
That's where we're going. A second honeymoon, Mercy.
Huh? It's winter. Will anything be open?
We don't need more than a room.
And the police won't look for us there.
All the police are watching for right now is a single woman. They don't know about the car, or the jersey plates in the car, or about me. We're going to have our second honeymoon, Mercy.
According to Clara Battles, Mercedes Turner had met her first husband while she was a student at the Bentley Collegiate Institute in Preston. I drove up there and then called New York to tell Scores what I'd gotten.
So she may not be alone, huh? She could be traveling with this redhead guy, Rohan.
I suspect that's true. Otherwise, why did she run?
Well, panic.
After spending the night with her dead husband? This isn't a lady who panics.
Okay, Will. I'll add him to the APB.
Right. I'll be back late tonight or first thing in the morning.
Yeah, we'll see you then. Oh, Will.
Yeah?
Hold up a minute. Something just came in. Hey, what do you know? The lady went to her bank this morning, closed her account, and took a bunch of stuff from her safe deposit box.
Well, it just goes to prove you can't live on love alone. See you. I pride myself on my ability as a police officer. I like my job, and I think I do it well. I've learned in the years I've been at it that a good cop gets a fix on a suspect, begins to empathize with the suspect, and pretty soon it's as though the person you're looking for was carrying a homing device. You begin to zero in on him. I began to get a feeling about the red-haired man. The Presto Town constable steered me to a place called the Snack Bar, where the Bentley girls hang out after classes. It's run by a nice old man, Clement Beatty.
How long we been here? Oh, my, we've had the place for years.
You recall a young fellow hung around here back before the war? His name was Rohan?
A red-haired boy?
That's him.
Oh, yes. He was with us for about a school year. Worked here in the shop for me and the missus. Why'd you want to know?
I'm trying to locate him. Where's his family live?
Well, seems to me out west someplace, or Middle West, maybe.
How do you happen to work for you?
Well, he was planning to go to Annixter College up in Royal. Came down here to see about a job. Mother and me leave a standing invitation, registrar's office up there for a deserving boy to help us out.
Why was he so far from home?
He wanted to be a doctor, and Annixter's one of the best pre-med schools in the country,
Yeah. Do you recall a girl at Bentley about that time, Mercedes Clinton, pretty, with blonde hair? She was very close to you.
Oh, yeah, sure. Was that her name, Mercedes? Oh, sure. Yeah, after Hugh closed the shop, the two of them used to sit back there and talk till all hours. Young kids in love. Yeah, I recall one night I was cleaning up in the kitchen, couldn't help overhearing them. They were making plans, for the future, how he was going to be a doctor. They were going to have a family. How did it all come out?
Not very well, I'm afraid.
We rented a tiny cabin at Rehoboth Beach, close by the water. And that night we slept in each other's arms for the first time since you'd gone off to war. I was awakened later. I don't know what time it was. By the sound of a sudden storm. And lying there, I was aware that Hugh was also awake.
Mercy?
Yes, dear.
Why'd you marry Turner? Did you love him?
No. Not ever. I married him because... I don't know.
You didn't love him?
Never. In fact, for the last few months, I've hated him. And wondered how to get away.
But you married him.
Yes, dear, I married him. Because there no longer was you, and all I wanted from life was to be protected. I didn't want love or pain anymore.
Mercy?
Yes, dear.
He was right, Your husband was right.
About what?
I was a convict. I am a convict. I escaped from prison last week.
Tomorrow at this time, rest your eyes and listen here to this week's continuing study in suspense, The Wife of the Red-Haired Man. I'm Rod Serling.
Today's episode brought to you in part by Quaker State and Presto. This is the Zero Hour on Mutual Radio.
You have been listening to The Zero Hour, a presentation of the Mutual Broadcasting System in association with Hollywood Radio Theater, heard every weekday at this time. Rod Serling is your host. Zero Hour is produced and directed by Elliott Lewis. The Hollywood Radio Theater theme was played by Ferranti and Teicher and is now available on United Artists Records and Tapes. Hugh Douglas speaking. Tune in tomorrow, and once again,
rest your eyes and listen here
to The Zero Hour.
This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Thank you for listening to and showing your support for my podcast. If you would like to receive notifications of when new episodes are posted, please subscribe to my channel. Subscriptions are 100% free, and they really help me get an idea of how I'm doing. You can also go to my website where you can listen to all of my podcasts for free, and you can also download episodes for free. The website is otr.duane.media. There is also donation information on there if you want to show your support or become a patron. You can email me at info@otr.duane.media. I'm also on Instagram at duane.otr. Well, hope you enjoyed, and until next time, stay safe, wish you well, and as always, peace.